Hey turn-based lovers, this is Leaf, and welcome back to the channel for another Guild Saga video. I'm saying another cause, man, it's been well over a year since we did a preview on Guild Saga, and I think the time is ripe that we go and check on the game to see what's up. Kind of like a year in review, but not really. It's still in early access, so a lot of things are still a work in progress, but the team at Ocelot, the studio behind this project, have made considerable strides between the game's initial early access release and the subsequent updates that followed, namely version 0.5 and version 0.6, which we'll be taking a look at in this video. But before we dive into the new content, I think it's best to give a small little refresher on what this game is all about for you folks who are new to the channel, or just, the folks who are unfamiliar with Guild Saga that managed to stumble their way into this video. So, Guild Saga Vanished Worlds is an isometric, grid-based, turn-based fantasy RPG that draws a lot of inspiration from both classic Japanese tactical RPGs like Tactics Ogre, as well as some modern CRPGs like Divinity Original Sin. The team behind the game is Ocelot Technologies, an independent game development studio based in Ontario, Canada. Their focus is on creating expansive role-playing worlds where strategy, storytelling, and exploration all come together, with games built to immerse players in rich RPG experiences that reward creativity and thoughtful decision-making. Personally, I would describe Guild Saga Vanished Worlds as a JRPG that plays like a CRPG. It has all the makings of a good CRPG, namely its tactical grid-based combat and open-ended character building, but has the limited scope of a JRPG, specifically linear storytelling, the game progression, and choices that are mostly inconsequential. Different playthroughs will only really change the way you decide to tackle the game's challenges, but you'll still meet the same cast of characters, experience the same storylines, and will eventually partake in almost exactly the same side activities. That is, at least as of writing's current version of the game. I would like to stress that this game is still under heavy active development. It's in its early access stages and has only gotten 2 major content updates so far, but even with the limited amount of content, with what it is and what it has right now, it's still a really fun and engaging experience that any RPG, JRPG, or CRPG fan might truly enjoy. Also, side note, even if we're not keeping score, any game that has a visual progression system in building characters gets an additional point in my book. Since its initial early access release, the game has had 2 major content updates, version 0.5, Shadows over Furrowstead, and version 0.6, Curses and Courtiers and Controllers, both of which add many more hours of gameplay and a bunch of QOLs. The main attraction for Guild Saga 0.5 update is the new, large, multi-encounter, treasure-filled, and story-filled area called Furrowstead, a once thriving farmland raised by a sudden outburst of fiery corruption. Quite literally, fire zombies. Furrowstead is a major area in the game that wasn't really in the initial early access release, but its presence was more or less felt and heard throughout my first playthrough, especially considering that half of the townsfolk literally talk about it. But with the Shadows over Furrowstead update, we can finally go into and investigate the happenings around Furrowstead that led to the misfortunes that its denizens are going through. For more technical details, Furrowstead is a level 7 to 8 region and the game's largest combat zone as of yet, featuring 2 unique boss tier encounters, over 10 new enemy types, standalone side quests and environmental puzzles, and the zone comes with a twisting narrative steeped in corruption and dark experiments. The update also comes with a brand new playable companion, which is a character critical to the Gladeheim storyline, Persephone. She's a character that you'll eventually meet through your journey, and you can finally recruit her to fill in the dark, pyromancer, and engineer archetypes for your party. Crafting and itemization had also been overhauled in this update, turning recipe discovery and character building into a dynamic experience that emphasizes strategic decision-making for players, which translates to choices are limited, every run is different, and you have to be smart with your decisions. They also added unique crafted gear that require a unique component to be crafted. Basically, beating a named boss will drop a single unique component which you can use to craft a single unique gear. But here's the catch, you only have one of those, and you really have to carefully decide which of the dozen or so available craftable items you will create with that one specific component, which is a really big decision in the game. Food and potions also get a rebalance, adding more meaningful effects like accuracy boosts, crit enhancements, resistances, and so much more, as opposed to being just a cheaper alternative to a healing potion. They also added additional crafted items in the form of skill-granting rings to tailor your party's capabilities. Version 0.5 also features an overhaul to the game's core combat mechanics with the addition of the Attack of Opportunity and Threatened Status systems. Attack of Opportunity lets characters equipped with melee weapons to interrupt enemies that pass adjacent to them by delivering a basic attack. The Threatened Status, on the other hand, provides a debuff to ranged units when a melee character capable of performing an Attack of Opportunity stands adjacent to them, lowering accuracy of ranged attacks from both archers and spellcasters. The ship has also been expanded, getting a visual overhaul with new interior spaces, more companion hangouts, and a visual progression system for the ship to enhance your adventures. I haven't really fully explored the system, or this part of the game for that matter, but additional features that enhance the immersion are always a welcome addition in games like these. Aside from these things, 0.5 also comes with a bunch more content and features, but a lot of them aren't really that major, while some of them are best kept under wraps to avoid the wonder of discovering them for yourselves. But we're not done here yet, because the game got another major update. Version 0.6, Curses, Courtiers, and Controllers is another major update released quite recently, just this last September, bringing secrets, romance, controller support, and a banquet full of mystery into Guild Saga. First off, the update added full controller support, making the game fully playable with any PlayStation and Xbox controller, complete with streamlined radial menus, fluid targeting, and enhanced looting system for a better controller experience. This update also highlights 2 new zones featuring all new challenges, lore, and brand new storylines that greatly expands the world building of Guild Saga. A Banquet of Shadows invites players to attend a dinner party at Usior's palace, the elusive information broker's estate, but rather than enjoying the banquet as an unsuspecting guest, you are invited as a secret investigator, for Usior believes that one of his powerful guests is plotting to steal from his sacred vault. A Banquet of Shadows is an optional quest and an alternative route for obtaining the ship later in the game. It's also filled with characters from all across its world, making this content a must-do for players who are interested in the expanded lore of Guild Saga. But instead of another combat-filled content edition like Furrowstead, a Banquet of Shadows is a strictly non-combat, dialogue-rich, and puzzle-filled questline designed to challenge your wit, reward your curiosity, and deepen your character's relationship with a party member. But no need to fret, combat fans, because this update also brought along another entirely new zone that'll challenge your knack for tactical turn-based combat. Silence in the Jungle has you investigate the sudden radio silence of a Mazan forward camp. No messages, no survivors, just silence. In trying to uncover what befell the soldiers, players will encounter something far older and darker than what you'd expect. I really want to share some footage of the events that takes place in this chapter, but I believe it will spoil the experience, so I'll leave it as a surprise for you guys. This update also comes with a new inclination system that makes character building an important factor in dialogues, adding over 200 inclination-specific dialogue options, special rewards, and unique outcomes depending on your character's inclination. This system weaves your chosen personality into the narrative, where your character's origin will influence NPC dialogue, unlock new choices, and ultimately shape your interactions throughout the world of Guild Saga. And last but not the least, 2 new playable companions joins the fray. The Talking Skull Morty now has his own questline that lets players seek his other skeletal remains to put him back together, earning you a permanent swashbuckling companion. Morty is definitely one of the more interesting characters in the game, designed to be more antagonistic towards moral dilemmas and is more inclined to the pursuit of power, a stark contrast to the main cast of Heroes Guild party members that are more interested in protecting the weak and or completing their mission. The other companion is a mysterious rogue mage that you can meet late in one of the quests. His background is shrouded in mystery. Getting him into the party is more of an accident, really, and based on how the game tries to be quite elusive when it comes to this character, I think it's best that you discover for yourself who this mystery character is. I really apologize for the spoiler filters in this video, but this is just the type of game that gives you an entirely different experience when going through the first playthrough, and I don't want to spoil the fun for everyone watching this video. Aside from that, the update also has some quality of life improvements, visual enhancements, balance changes, and bug fixes that I won't really be getting into in this video. If you want to check the full change logs, we'll link both updates down in the description, or you can go to Guild Saga Vanished Worlds' Steam page and check the recent events and announcement section there and give them a wish list while you're at it. If you're on the fence when deciding if you really want to play this game or not, there's also a free demo available to download through their Steam page as well, so you can check the game out for yourself before you decide if you really want to closely follow the game's evolution as an early access supporter. But that's really all I have to say for this video. I've said it before and I'll say it again, Guild Saga Vanished Worlds is a pretty solid RPG experience despite being in its early access stages. Sure, there's still a lot of content missing from the current version of the game, and we're probably a long way away from the full 1.0 release, but even then, I've played through the game from start to finish about 5 times now, and I had a lot of fun every time. So if you're interested in an alternative, light CRPG experience, I guess, consider giving Guild Saga Vanished Worlds a try, or if you're already invested in this game, feel free to give your thoughts on the game in the comment section down below. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe for new around here, and remember to follow turn-based lovers for everything turn-based. That has been Leaf, and I'll see you guys on the next one.